Good afternoon. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Welcome to Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, where we always do this podcast. Thanks for hanging out. I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. And, I hope we're all doing some fun stuff. It's been a busy week so far, and it's only Tuesday. So that's pretty cool. Maybe if you guys want to know what we got going on around here, that's cool. I did make a video yesterday that kind of included a lot of that stuff. Today we're going to talk about guitars because that's what we do at this podcast. Just so you know, all of these live streams are ad-free. So, if you want to support the channel, you are welcome to use a super chat if you like. You can ask as many guitar questions as you want. We probably will have a bunch of time. I don't have a whole lot today, so probably have a bunch of time to answer guitar questions today and talk about whatever else you want to talk about. So get in the chat and say hello. And also, so these are always ad-free. It just makes it easier. The other thing is you can use the links in the description. All those links, most of those links anyway, help out the channel in one way or another. Either they're affiliate links or stuff that we sell or, that kind of thing. Of course, Dylan Talks Tone, where you can go and buy pickups. Lots of custom stuff that we're doing lately, which is really cool. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what we got. So, I was reading an article earlier. I want to say it was on guitarworld.com, and it was talking about the magic of the Les Paul Jr. And of course, that's my jam. You know that I like those things. And basically the idea behind the whole concept, apparently, according to Gibson back in the 50s, with the Junior and the specials and, anything like that, was that it was a guitar that basically it wasn't fancy, but it was still good. And I think this is something that a lot of people get mixed up these days. We're not looking for something that's cheaper or something that's less fancy, but still good. And so the idea is that like the same P90 in the Les Paul Jr. was the same one that came in the Les Paul, right? And so the idea is that the tone was the same, not, construction, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying the components were the same. So it meant that you had a guitar that was kind of stripped down for the purpose of making it more attainable for more folks without giving up the sound that you wanted. And there are guitars that do that now. A lot less, though. I think that area of guitardom has kind of gotten stripped down. So you saw in the thumbnail that I put the Les Paul, whatever that thing's called, the Light, the new one that's, mahogany with no top on it, and it's, open pore finish and all that. I think I put the, it doesn't apply totally because it's an Indonesian guitar, but that PRS SE with the swamp ash with the clawed finish on it, the sandblasted finish. And then, of course, the open pore Texas Toast level 1. And it's interesting because I can't think of very many guitars that are basically the same basic concept or basic construction, the same basic, the same pickups, the same electronics, the same everything, but just with no binding, with no, you know what I mean? But I think the reason it is because there are so many models that it would be hard. It's like the number of models dilutes what you can do with a particular model, if that makes sense. Like, I think the guitar industry has gotten to making cheaper guitars, not simpler guitars. There's a difference. And since I guess the other thing too is back when like juniors were a thing, there were no Asian guitars, right? Not in this context anyway. Of course we have Japanese stuff and all that, but I'm talking about Asian sublines of regular guitars weren't really a thing yet. And so then you just have to make a less featured guitar, which I think is interesting. And actually, sitting here, I mean, it just popped in my head, but I think that's kind of one of the neat things about like Texas Toast guitars is that's exactly what they do with their level 1, 2, 3, and 4. The quality of the guitar is not any different. So like, it's not an import guitar at level 1 and an American guitar at level 4. No, it's all the same. It's so you can get the hardware's good. All of the pickups can be, you can put my pickups in a level 1 or you can put them in a level 4. The construction, the playability, all that stuff is present in all 4 levels of that guitar. But one is simpler. So they're still cool. They're really neat guitars. But they are simpler, not cheaper. I think everybody's looking for a cheaper guitar. But do you want a good guitar or do you want a cheap guitar? And everybody's going to get in the comment, well, this guitar is just as good as that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking the standard that you know and love, the Telecaster, the Stratocaster, the SG, the 335, the Les, did I say the Les Paul already? And making a simpler and having a simpler guitar, but with the same pickups, the same good construction, the same quality, the same all that stuff. Made in the same factory. Made by the same people. It just doesn't happen as much anymore. It's just an interesting concept that I came across today that I was thinking about. It just doesn't happen. Let's see. Looks like we've got a couple of questions in here. Let's see. How do I check if my column pot is going bad? Are you talking about I don't know what that means. Les Paul Modern Light. That's what it is. Yeah. My guitar teacher came last week and was like, holy crap, that is smooth. When he tried your center punch, by the way, I now hate my 57 Classics and just want another set. They feel lazy in comparison. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's I appreciate that a lot. That's what we hear often when you compare our pickups against Gibson or Seymour Duncan. So I appreciate that very much. I got the level 2 loaded because I wanted the Carina. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Sorry for sliding into your DMs, by the way. Oh, yeah, no worries. I appreciate you doing that, actually. That was actually, I could respond faster in that moment. A lot of people try to DM me on all kinds of platforms, and I don't always see them. It's not a very reliable way to get in touch with me, actually. Emailing is the most reliable way, as well as if it's a guitar-related question, the chat on the website. So if you want to know about pickups or products or anything that we sell or that we're doing, the chat on the website is the fastest way because I'll answer that right away. But if it's not guitar related, email is the best way. I typically do not spend a bunch of time on Instagram in the, I probably have a bunch of unread messages on Instagram because it's just too hard because they'll put them in weird inboxes. They'll put them in. So it's not a reliable way. Are you going to make any 7-string pickups? Maybe, that's a pretty small subset of players. And that is a world that is looking for something very specific that I don't know that we necessarily do. We do something very specific. And I know that if we applied our whole clarity and note definition concept to a 7-string with a lot of gain, people would really like it. But it's also, it's just not my wheelhouse. That music is not my wheelhouse. And that tone in general is just not my wheelhouse. So it's something that I have not really gone down. I just got my second Texas Toast. They really do make some of the finest instruments going today. Yeah, I think what made me think of them is the whole concept of levels of guitar not being better or worse. Like if you go on, like, I don't know, discounttire.com or something, and your shop, or tire rack or whatever, there's like good, better, best, and it's like, I'm going to shop for winter tires, I'm going to shop for performance tires, I'm going to shop for whatever, and you put your make and model in and whatever, and then it's like, here's good, here's better, and here's best. They don't ever put crappy, but we all know that like Kumhos are there, but they don't put good, better, best next to those. They just put good, which we know they suck. Or, you know what I'm talking about. Any of those like super, I had these tires, these like Chinese tires. I can't remember what they're called. Nexus something on my Sprinter van. And they were exploding. Everybody that bought these vans, like literally exploding and crashing and stuff. And nobody was doing anything about it. You can buy them on Discount Tire, and it does not say good. It does not say better or best, but it says good, and they suck, right? So guitars are oftentimes reduced to that, like good, better, best. But it's not, to me, it's not about that. The inexpensive guitar, the more attainable guitar should be made of the best stuff or nothing. Like, you shouldn't spend money on something that is less than amazing. At least I'm not going to. I mean, I worked for that money. I'm not going to just throw it against the wall and hope that I get this thing, and I hope that, you know what I mean? Like the customer service, I hope. I'm not going to do that. Now, you can buy an expensive guitar or a good guitar or a best guitar from anywhere and get a lemon and have to return it, and but usually there's some customer service and stuff that goes with that, right? Like, I know for a fact that if you bought a Texas Toast guitar, or even if you bought a Gibson from a good retailer, if you bought a Gibson from Sweetwater and you got it, I actually did. I got a Gibson with a cracked brace, an acoustic, and no big deal, man. They sent me the second one before the first one was even returned. Like, customer service, right? But that comes with the territory when you buy best, right? So it's not about cheap. It's about, is this thing simple enough to be affordable for me? But I think what's interesting is a lot of folks want to equate. So let's take, for example, I know a lot of folks think that the Gibson Bud Light, or whatever it's called, we'll just call it the Gibson Bud Light, is too expensive for what it is. Well, just because you can buy a Chinese knockoff with binding doesn't mean that it's too expensive for what it is. It's perfectly priced for what it is. It is a stripped down, simplified, but still high quality version of the fancy one, right? And I think that model is great. I don't mean that guitar model, but I mean that model of sales is great. Simple, add some stuff, add some more stuff. The only thing that I think may cause that guitar a problem where it won't be around long is because the Studio came out for not much more money. And the Studio is a much nicer guitar. Not because it's better, but because it has more features for a couple $100 more. It has a lot more features for a couple $100 more, which I think is really cool. To me, I think the best, well, let's say Gibson right now anyway, the best buy for a Gibson right now is the Les Paul Studio. Personally, I think that's the best guitar out there right now for that. And then the other best buy, bar none, is a Texas Toast Challenger Level 2. It's just for this about the same money, like $1,500, $1,600. Those two guitars are phenomenal. And then you can look at probably in that. And what's interesting is this whole kind of simpler version, but still premium stuff. is around that $1,500 to $1,700. Obviously, we live in 2024 and stuff is expensive, right? So I think what you're doing, if you buy anything cheaper than that, or go to an import, and we're talking about the core guitars here, folks. We're not talking about like the copy of the copy of the copy. We're not talking about that. We're also not talking about wacky models like Schecter something, 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 okay? Or, BC Rich or, Harmonies or, weird stuff. We're talking about the core stuff that we all know, right? So there's the Fender has a line right in that area too, an American-made $1,500 guitar that is, to me, like a good basic standard Stratocaster. I get this question all the time. What's the best of, whatever? And honestly, the thing is you just buy the best guitar you can afford. So you have to figure out what your budget is first. Like if you, to me, starting at right around $1,500, you start to get into some really good stuff. And so that's where I would shoot. 15 to 17 is where it is. Let's face it, a fully featured American guitar for the most part can't be had for less than $2,000. For the most part, there's a couple outliers, but even really simple stuff, right? So it's just kind of the way life is. It's let's see. Then Gibson brought out the Studio. Yeah, dude, that Studio is freaking good. It is really, really good. Rhett Shull just did a video comparing Martin's, and yours came in first, even over the 10K one. I don't care about videos like that. I tell you, you don't see me doing a lot of comparison videos, and the reason I don't is because I don't want people to take my opinion as like, well, he says it's the best, so I'm going to go and buy it. I don't like that kind of review. I don't like, that's not the way I do them, I think that every guitar at every price point, let's say this, every price point of guitar, every price point of gear is marketed to a particular user. So it's a matter of finding what kind of user you are. We talked about this in last week's podcast, whether you're a Gibson guy or you're not. And that's not just Gibson people, whether you're a Fender guy or you're a Squier guy, whether you're a PRS, wood library guy, or whether you're an SE guy. There's nothing wrong with any, it's not even levels. It's just who you are. Like if you are not that person, don't try to be that person, and especially don't be ashamed of being who you are. If you're an Epiphone guy, just own it, right? Don't talk trash about people that aren't. I'm not an Epiphone guy. I don't like them. But, I would say I'm not necessarily a Gibson custom shop guy either, even though I have one. I love it. It's amazing. But that's an outlier for me. Like, I'm really glad that I have that guitar, but it's not where I'm going to probably spend all of my money, for sure. I wanted that one, but I don't know that I would necessarily, I'm like my next Les Paul is going to be a gold top, but I probably won't buy a custom shop. I don't see the need to do that. I think my next Gibson, my next Les Paul is going to be a gold top, 50s normal standard one, like the $2,800 one. That's the one I'm going to get. I don't see the purpose in getting a custom shop version of that guitar. It would be cool if I could get the Murphy Lab like beat up one, because I like that. But the only reason I bought this one is because you couldn't really get what I really wanted. I kind of wanted the closest thing to the real thing that I could get, without spending $15,000. So I was kind of stuck getting that, because Gibson doesn't really make that in any other thing. So that's kind of why I did that. But I think it's super cool. I think it's fun to think about all this stuff. Comparisons means nothing to me. I do things differently than the rest of the world. And I guess, and that's what I'm saying. I think guitar playing is so individual that it's more important to find out what the thing does and does it fit you, right? It doesn't make, I am under the firm opinion that outside of some Chinese junk that is out there, copies of copies of copies, stuff like that, that, and even in that stuff, it's not terrible stuff. I am of the opinion that there is almost no bad gear in the guitar industry right now. What you consider bad gear isn't bad gear. Now there are wastes of money. There are products that don't do anything. There are, so like, what's that thing that's bolts on the back of a Telecaster to give you more sustain? Like that kind of crap. Like, there's gimmicky stuff. But when you look at guitars and you look at amps and you look at pedals, I guess some of the really garbage Chinese stuff on Amazon and stuff, some of it's just not good. But when you look in the mainstream, when I'm talking about, go to Guitar Center, go to, Sweetwater, go to any of the normal places, your normal music store that you go to, most of that stuff's not bad. People want to say it's bad because it's something that they, A, either are not familiar with, or B, it doesn't fit into their life. Or C, they look down on other people for spending a different amount of money than them. So it's more of an internal problem with why they think a piece of gear is bad than it is a problem with the gear itself. I mean, that's right. It's a more psychological thing than it is fact. Because you look at some of this really inexpensive stuff. A Squier Affinity. The other day, a guy messaged me and he's like, "I've got a Squier Affinity. What pickup should I put in it?" I'm like, "Buy some flat sixes, dude. It's gonna cost more than the guitar costs." By the time he puts all the fancy stuff in it, who cares? It's cool. If he likes the guitar, he likes the color, it works, right? I mean, that's awesome. So there's nothing wrong with that guitar. He's a Squier Affinity guy, and he might have. I don't know this guy. He might have all the money in the world. It might not be a money thing. It might not be a tone thing. It might just be, I thought the guitar was cool, so I bought it. I want to do a whole podcast about not everything is about tone. In fact, very little of it is about tone, to tell you the truth. There's a very small percentage of guitar land that really has anything to do with tone. I mean, I'm just going to say that. That's, people want to get super esoteric about, oh yeah, my tone, this and that, and blah, 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 whatever. Let's put some fancy lasery stuff on there and you'll buy it, And I don't mean that you would buy it because you're dumb. I mean, it's cool. You buy stuff because it's cool. You don't worry about the tone, because it's not everything. It's not everything. I like comparison videos in the sense of, who is this for? Yeah, I agree. Oh, because they don't have most big brands here, and seeing the differences is interesting to see that it's okay. So yeah, that's right. Because you don't live in the United States, and so your market is different. In fact, I used to sell a bunch of stuff to a guy in Brazil, and I sold a bunch of guitars in Chile too. And guitar stuff was really hard to get in Central America and South America. So probably using reviews to somewhat narrow down, because you probably have to pay all kind of import stuff. So you probably have to be very choosy, I would imagine, about what you go to the trouble to buy, right? That makes sense. That makes sense. Yep. I like my Epiphones because it's only one generation of copy to the original, at least until I save up for a Gibson. That's right. Yeah. There's not very many Kevin Bacons between that and a regular Les Paul. Yeah. Exactly. Let's see. Sully guitars. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm actually really excited. We're going next month. I'm going to California for this guitar show that is basically just boutique, like kind of smaller builders. I got invited by Carlos Lopez from Casadosa Guitars. He used to be in the Fender Custom Shop, and he invited me out there. And then we actually ended up, I'm working on something really cool with Texas Toast Guitars, and so we're going to be debuting some pretty neato stuff at that show. So, yeah, save up some money because you're going to want one of these. If you don't have a Texas Toast Guitars, you're going to want one of these. Really expensive as well. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and I would imagine that would be the case just because of where you are. Yep. No, I'm not Carlos's +1. I'm actually Matt's +1. Or kind of +3, honestly. Electric guitars here in South America are rare. Yeah, that's interesting. I keep, and that's what I was kind of referring to a minute ago. Oh yeah, because you're in, are you in Colombia, Tim? I think, I want to say. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, South America is, they do have a different, even all the small parts. So I used to, a long time ago, it got harder and harder to export there, so I can't do it anymore, but I used to sell a bunch of pickup parts in Brazil. We used to sell a lot of pickup covers and magnets and all that kind of stuff. And because people had a hard time getting that stuff down there, even to make parts, you know? So, yeah, pretty cool. Let's see. The other thing I should tell you about is we have a bunch of stuff going. Oh, yeah. Hey, check this out. So we just made these, just did this morning. These powder-coated flasks with our, speaking of made in the USA. So those are going on the website probably tonight or tomorrow. Tonight or tomorrow morning. And then, of course, this is the Dylan Pickups, Augusta, Georgia, established 2013. So that one is also coming out tonight, or tomorrow. So that'll be pretty cool. We were actually doing on leather ones before, but I don't like them as much. I like these better, and they're easier to engrave. So yeah, pretty neat stuff. I watched your videos about the 40th anniversary Telecaster and ended up getting the blue gold Stratocaster, getting the blue gold edition. Wow, I love it. It's the best Strat, Fender, or whatever I've played. Yeah, that was a really good guitar. I really like the neck on that guitar. I obviously the hardware is a little on the Chinese side and the pickups are a little on the Chinese side, but that guitar is actually, that's a really good guitar. We actually designed our, I used that guitar to design our Bonneville pickups, our Bonneville Strat pickups, on that one. Yeah, it's really cool. My first Tele is an Elite. A few years later, I bought a Squire and I love it just as much, but the pickups are too noisy in certain show locations. That would make sense. Yeah. That makes sense. Just based on magnet quality and how they're wound, that would make sense. I hope I don't run into any more good deals. Hopefully I just bought my last one for the year. Got a deal on a Gibson SG Supreme in wine red. Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't have an SG. I mean, I have my Junior, but I don't have an SG. That was actually on my list. I was thinking about buying a, when I bought this Custom Shop Junior, I was actually thinking about buying a 61, like a 61 reproduction with the vibrato on it. That's something that I'm kind of into. Oh, one of the things I did do yesterday, it should be coming in this week. So we'll do a video on it. I bought the, is it Mojo? Whatever it's called. I can't remember. Hang on. Let me see. I bought the fancy bridge for the, for my Gibson SG Junior. I did not buy the fancy bridge for my custom shop. That's fine. But I bought a different lightning bolt. From Mojo X. That's who it is. For the Les Paul Jr. Because this one that I have has always given me a little trouble on the B and on the G strings. And so I'm trying to see if this will fix it. Fortunately, apparently these are very good and they work well to fix the intonation issue that I'm having. It's close, and basically it was pretty good, and then I started messing with a file to try to get it better, and it made it worse. So, because I did it backwards, I think. Anyway, whoops, whatever. So I've got this bridge coming probably Friday or Saturday or something. It's going to be here. I'm excited to put that on that guitar and see kind of where we're at, and see if I can get that guitar to not play better, but it's always been the B string on that guitar, which is weird. Usually on Gibson stuff, it's the G that gives you the trouble, but for some reason that B string's always been kind of off. So I'm kind of excited about that. So let's see, that's going to be here. It says, well, it's probably going to be here Tuesday or so, or wait, today is Tuesday. It'll probably be here like Friday. So that's pretty cool. I'm kind of excited about that. Just to see if that guitar will work a little bit better. Since I've been playing these juniors a bunch lately, it's kind of funny. Like, of course, when you have a bunch of guitars, you have guitars that you don't play that much. And my SG Junior kind of sat for quite a while. And because I got this other TV yellow one with the pinups on it, and from Dawn, and I've been playing that thing a bunch. And of course now I got this custom shop. The SG Junior kind of has sat for quite a while. And yeah, so we'll just see. I'm excited to see what that thing's going to do. The SG with the Vibrola are gorgeous. I agree. I really, really, really want one. Music City also sells them. Yeah, I've seen those. And Bukovac also sells them too. I've seen them. I'm not a fan because I don't want to lose the original look of the original one that came on the guitar. So this one is supposed to be good. The lightning bolt is supposed to be in the right spot. I'm assuming that it's going to be. So we'll just see what happens. It was a $65 experiment, so you will know because I'm going to do a video about it and probably set it up on video. I don't have any affiliation with them. I just found it and bought it. I was actually on eBay shopping for a fountain pen, and it came up with my like suggested products. I'm like, oh yeah, check that out. Because I'd shopped for them before, but a lot of them from some of these brands, they'll make them for the Junior. But for the SG Junior, there's two different ones. There's one with the angled bridge and there's one with the straight bridge. I have the one with the straight bridge. And I could never find the right looking bridge because I want it to be aged nickel because my guitar is pretty gross. So I wanted it to be aged nickel. I wanted it to be the lightning bolt because I wanted it to look right. I don't want that funny, like polished back tapered one with the weird like swoop in it. I don't like how it looks because I want the original looking one. So I want the corrected lightning bolt aged with this for straight, not for angled. And so that combination of stuff I hadn't seen before. I've been keeping an eye out for, obviously I've had that guitar since 2019, 2020, somewhere in that area. So I've been looking for one ever since, and not seriously because I don't really care, but if it came up, I would buy it. And so it finally came up. So I was like, yeah, pop on there, see what happens. Just got a Squire Paranormal Telly Troublemaker. Not super fancy, but it's pretty cool. Those are neat. I think they're neat. I like the idea. Obviously, humbuckers and a telly are a thing that everybody should have. I think that's really cool. Kev, you're talking about the SG Modern. That's interesting. I don't really want a modern one. I know a lot of people that like them. That's not my jam, but I think that's cool. I think they're neat. SGs are cool. They're just cool, and they're light. They're super light. Yeah, just get a good strap. Can a Batwing SG be converted from humbuckers to P90s? I know it would need routing. You would have to cut that guitar. I don't know. I wouldn't. Wow, $305. Shoot, that's pretty good. That's really good. That's really, really good. That sounds fun. Put a set of center punches with a coil split in that. That'd be cool. Or if you want to go full rock and roll, put a set of Super 8s in it with no coil split. That'd be killer too. Yeah, man. I dig that. Yeah, where'd you get that thing for $300? That's awesome. Yep. Well, cool, man. Yeah, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot today, but I just wanted to say hi and chat about this stuff a little bit. So thanks for hanging out. We're working through a bunch of pickups, making a bunch of stuff tomorrow. And we are, still working through a bunch of stuff. If you're waiting on stuff from me, know that I'm working on it. It's Black Friday was busy. So we're getting caught up, though. We'll be caught up by the end of the week. So pretty cool, which I'm pretty excited about. I just got the John 5 Ghost. Oh, dude. Oh my gosh, that's a guitar that's something that I would love to own. That's really cool. I bet that wasn't $305, but that's really, really cool. So anyway, well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I hope you all have a good evening, and we will probably see you tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, we'll see you Thursday.